Hi everybody, I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I wanted to focus on story elements with you today. If you remember, we've done them since September, so that's a long time. Can you remember the 4 story elements that we know and we use a lot? Because sometimes on tests or quizzes, people will ask us to compare or discuss the story elements. Usually when I start you off, you can list the others. How about characters, setting, problem, and solution? And I hope a lot of you are thinking that when we get to problem, we know that 3rd grade word for problem. Do you remember what it is? If you said conflict, you're right. So I have a link for you below on your little lesson box for today. I want you to click on it and I want you to listen to Harry the Dirty Dog. It's read by Betty White. She's really funny. She's one of my favorite actresses. As you listen to the story, I want you to identify the story elements that you hear. All right, so if you remember, we said that story elements, I'll write them up here, are going to be character, setting, and I want us to remember that setting is 2 things. What 2 things make up setting? If you said when and where, that's right. You could also say time and place. All right, and then we know conflict and the solution. All right. So when I think about a story that we're all familiar with, like let's say we do the Big Bad Wolf and we do the 3 Little Pigs. When I think about the characters and all the story elements for the 3 Little Pigs, I would say that the characters are going to be the 3 Little Pigs and the wolf. All right. I would then say the setting, we know that it takes place mostly during the day, and we know that it's out in a village far away, and it takes place at the 3 pigs' house. Okay. And the conflict is that the wolf wants to eat the pigs. And we know the solution is that they all take refuge in the 3rd pig's house because he made it out of bricks. All right. So now I want you to go listen to Harry the Dirty Dog, and I want you to record those story elements. You can do it on just a plain piece of paper, or you can do it like each story element on a different little scrap of paper. I decided to fold my paper like a hamburger, and then I folded my paper like a hot dog. Okay, that way on my one paper I have 4 sections. So I'll label them characters, setting, conflict, and solution. So go ahead and listen to Harry the Dirty Dog, and I want you to write those down. So pause the video and go do that now, and then you can come back and we'll review it together, okay? All right, go do that. All right, I hope you enjoyed the read aloud. So here we go. As I started to think about the characters that stood out to me were definitely Harry, right? Because he's the dog. So I'm gonna put up here Harry. And then in 3rd grade, we've also talked about secondary characters. I would include Harry's family in this category. So I'm gonna write that down too. Harry's family, okay? All right, now I want us to think about the setting. Where did the story take place? And can you remember to do both parts? We have to have where and when, or a time and a place. So I'm gonna think, and it happened mostly during the day, so I'm gonna put daytime. And then I'm also thinking that not only did it happen in Harry's yard and Harry's house, but he also was around town. Remember how he went to those different places and he got so dirty there? So I'm gonna put house/yard. And I'm also gonna put around town. Thought that was very sneaky. He got out of his fence. Okay. And now I'm gonna think about the conflict. And remember we said in 3rd grade, our books start to get a lot more complicated. So there might be more than one conflict as you read a book. The main conflict that stood out to me is that Harry doesn't like baths. So he hid the brush. So I'm gonna write that down as my conflict. Harry does not like baths, so he hid a brush. period. And I made sure that I did my answer in a complete sentence, because once you get to the conflict and the solution, that's usually where there's a little bit more dialogue and where we need to make sure that we're expressing it clearly. Okay? All right, so now I want you to remember, in third grade, even though there might be more than one conflict and there may be more than one solution, your solution always has to solve the conflict that you put. So I have Harry does not like baths, so he hid the brush. If I put in there, Harry made his way back to the yard, does that solution match with this conflict? Not really. If I wanted to have Harry escaped his yard and was around town without his family as my conflict, the solution then would be Harry makes his way home and goes back into the yard. That solution fixes the conflict. Since my conflict is Harry does not like baths, so he hid the brush, my solution would then become Harry returns home, gets the brush, and what's the other part that I need in my solution? Takes a bath. That conflict is what started and became a main focus of the story. So let me put that in here. Harry got the brush, because remember he had hid it. He dug a hole and buried it. So my solution is Harry got the brush and took a bath. Okay, your conflict, it might be a little bit different. You may have said that the conflict is Harry's family doesn't recognize him. Remember the part in the text where the little boy said, there's a strange dog in the yard. That conflict would have the solution of Harry gets a bath and his family recognizes him. See how the solution fixes that conflict? In third grade, we need to make sure that we're making sure the solution matches the conflict. So make sure you do that too. All right. So friends, as you continue reading today, if you do another read aloud or if you're doing your 20 minutes of reading, I want you to be thinking about the story elements, character, setting, conflict, and solution, and make sure that you can identify those. All right. Enjoy your day.